Hi, my name is James Taylor. I'm a missionary here in Kenya, East Africa. My sending church is the Pauline Baptist Church of Monticello, Arkansas. I'm here in my office where I spend a lot of time with the Lord and also spend a lot of time reflecting on the work that God's doing here in Kenya. We do updates and try to give a real-time update on what God's doing on a day-to-day basis. We're so privileged to have been able to serve the Lord here since 2008, July, when our family arrived here. My wife Kenya and our 5 children, Josiah, Abigail, Lydia, Samuel, and Sarah. Our family spent the first 6 months when we arrived here in Kenya focusing on the language. From there we began having Bible studies here at our house. It became the starting point for how God was going to begin to reach out from this area. We had the Bible study here. For one, our family needed a place to have services and worship themselves. But then we began to invite others to come alongside of us. And before long, we had a core group of people that were meeting with us. I would think we started out in the beginning with 4 or 5 families, and God blessed that, and from there we continued to multiply. God used those families as well as others to plant seeds in other villages. Our neighbor here, which was our first convert, his name was Juma. Juma has a unique story. I'll share that briefly. He was my neighbor, and I began, when I first came here, working out on my front porch. I'd get up about 4 in the morning because it was so hot during the day you couldn't work out. Well, he noticed that I was working out and asked if he could come work out, he and a friend. We began working out together, and of course we built a relationship and a friendship, and my goal was ultimately just to be able to share Christ with him. The weights was just a way to draw him in and a way for us to begin a friendship. Well, he did come to our services, and he was saved, and he was also baptized. Being our first convert, we were so excited. But then also he took us back to his home village, which is a place called Bokole. And what's exciting is that even today, Bokole, there's a church there that was established as a result of lifting weights with Juma. Juma is the pastor there. His dad, who raised him and his brothers and sisters Muslim, was saved. Juma had the great privilege of baptizing his own dad. So even right now there's a gospel witness there in Bokole because of a set of weights. So God can use all sorts of things to share the gospel message, whether it be Bible study, whether it be weights, whether it be a tract. There's all sorts of things. Another story we have is William, who came to be a part of our Bible study here as we started the church on our porch. William was looking for the Mganga, which is a witch doctor. The Mganga lives across the street from us, and he was looking for him. The day he went to there was no electricity. He knocked on our gate door looking for this witch doctor, but instead of finding the witch doctor, he found me. I told him where the witch doctor lived, but told him also that the great physician was who he really needed, and invited him to our Bible study that we're going to be having later that morning. That same day, William came with his wife and his children. Now, I'd like to say that he stayed with us the whole time, but he was sporadic off and on, but that was the starting point of our relationship with William. He was saved, had the great privilege of baptizing him, and then he opened the door for us to go to a new area called Singwaya. We now have a church in Singwaya, the Gandini Landmark Baptist Church, as a result of that relationship. So God has taken us many places. The beginning point was right here in Malindi. Gandini, Bokole, we can go down to Jimba, Mangangani, several places that God's allowed us to work. We go from places that are 2.5 hours drive from here, places that are off-road, places that are right next to the road. We have the location in Gandini where we go down and have to cross the river in a small dugout canoe. I drive my motorcycle down to Mandanguni. We get to the boats there, load up the motorcycle, they take it across, then they come back and pick me up, and I go across, jump on the motorbike, and we head in and preach the gospel. So here indeed is a very diverse work, from city work to village work, to probably, let's say, in-between work, and even bush work. But God has done so much in the past few years. We began with a vision in our hearts, the Borlands and our family. We believe that God wanted us to have a ministry of eternal significance that impacted the cause of Christ through the advancement and multiplication of His churches. And indeed, God has seen fit to allow that vision to come to pass. We've not only seen a church started, we've seen several churches started. And the ministry is beginning to multiply. He put that vision in Brother Scott Borland's heart and my heart together, and then He passed that vision on to our sending church, Pauline Baptist Church. We're so excited about the church and the partnership that we have with them. We've had many short-term trips come over. From the very beginning, we've always wanted this ministry to be a partnership. Never just a one missionary family, 2 missionary families, but to be a partnership between us, the sponsoring church, and also our supporting churches. and God has allowed that to happen. We've had many short-term trips come over from different churches. Our own church sends over a group every year and continues to foster opportunities for groups to come over. Not only do we have the short-term trips, but also we have an internship program that we offer. Over the past couple of years, God's given us the privilege to have different interns. Have been a great blessing to the ministry here, as well as give them an opportunity to have experience on the mission field with a missionary in a safe environment. So I hope that those who might be watching this would consider partnering with us, whether it be on a short-term trip or perhaps even an internship. But even beyond that, we're praying as a church and as a team here on the ground with our family, the Borlands. We're praying that God will send 5 families here on the coast of Kenya. That may seem like a lot, or maybe it seems like a little, I'm not sure. But I believe with all of my heart, and I know that Brother Scott would join with me and say that he believes it as well, and our pastor and our missions committee, we believe with 5 families we could change the coast of Kenya for the cause of Christ. So pray with us for that vision, that God will bring families. We have other families even right now who are praying about the possibility of coming and working alongside of us. Another part of this multiplication is not just the ground team of coming on board, but also the Bible Institute, the training of national pastors. We believe with all of our hearts that this is the core of the work. Of course, evangelism. Of course, discipleship. But then in order to multiply, we must train the national leaders. They can go to places that we can never go. They can take the gospel in the villages that we can never go into. They understand the culture that we can just barely get a grasp on. So the Bible Institute has been instrumental in allowing us to see the multiplication already of the ministry. We currently have 2 classes, the Kipepeo class and the Nyati class. The school started back in January of 2010 and is continuing even now. We plan to continue to add new classes as God calls men into the ministry. We hope to have a graduation soon of the very first basic level class. So excited to see these men as they're maturing and growing and not only learning the Bible, but putting the Bible into practice. The majority of the men that are in the Nyati class are currently pastoring. And I believe by the end of this next year that all of those in that Nyati class will be pastoring or will be starting Bible studies in various locations. So the work indeed is multiplying as we train and pour ourselves in the national men and continue the discipleship of those that are in the churches. So do pray again for the expansion of this ministry. Pray for the 5 families that God has and I believe is going to call. Pray for the men that God is working with now that are in the Bible Institute and those that are going to continue to come alongside of us in the Bible Institute. We're praying beyond Malindi, beyond Bokole, Singwaya, Manzangani, that God will allow us to continue to move north on the coast of Kenya, up to places like Hola, Lamu, Witu, Kipini, Peketoni, so many places where the gospel is yet to be preached. But we need the prayers of God's people. We need those to join us in those internships, those to join us in the short-term trips, and those also to take that step of faith and come alongside of us to preach the gospel to literally people who have never heard the gospel. Tribes like the Orma, over 60,000 in the Orma tribe, and many of them have never heard the name of Jesus. Please join with us and pray. The opportunity on the coast is huge. If you'd like to take this journey with us, we also have a Google group that'll take you on the journey from day 1 when we set foot on the ground here in 2008 of July, all the way to the present, a day-by-day account of this journey of faith that God has allowed our family to be on, allowed our team to be on, allowed our church to be on, and many short-term missionaries, interns, and everyone to be on. You can follow that whole entire trip, or perhaps you just jump in with us now. But if you'll go to Google Groups, and click on Google Groups, type in the words East Kenya Team Reports. It'll bring up our website, and there you can join the group. And from there you can begin to read a daily account of what God is doing here on the coast of Kenya. If you'd like to go back and read where we came from, the history is there over the past several years. So take time, I pray, to read that journey. It truly is a journey of faith that God's allowed us to be on, and we'd like for you to take it with us. And we'd like for you to become a page in that journey. Make plans to come and join us, whether it's short-term, long-term, a few months, a few years. It doesn't have to be just preaching. There are opportunities for medical, opportunities for teaching, opportunities just to help us put together tracts, put together books. What I'm trying to say is, just be a part of the ministry. We value your prayers. We value your support. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And again, please take this journey of faith with us and see what God does here on the coast of Kenya.
Kwa maana jinsi hii Mungu aliupenda ulimwengu
hata akamtoa mwanawe pekee,
ili kila mtu amwaminie asipotee,
bali awe na uzima wa milele. Hana 3:16